The NBA is always full of amazing plays that happen throughout the regular season and the playoffs. The 2021 season was no different when delivering that same level of excitement and action. What were the best plays of 2021? What players were involved in these mind-blowing plays? From poster-worthy slam dunks to game-sealing alley-oops, here are some of the best, most mind-blowing plays during an NBA game. You don't want to miss this one. Brooklyn Nets 4-man dunk. A 4-man dunk might sound a bit odd, but that is how many players were involved in what was one of the most beautiful plays from the 2021 season. The Brooklyn Nets took on the Cleveland Cavaliers in May in a game that would see when the 4-man play was executed with high precision. An inbound pass was tipped off the hands of Mike James right into the hands of Blake Griffin, who performed a no-look behind the back pass right into the hands of Kyrie Irving. Irving then passed the ball right back to Mike James, who bounced it off the backboard to have Kevin Durant finish off the astounding play with a slam dunk. The level of skill involved in this play made it look like the Brooklyn Nets transformed into trick shot phenoms, the Globetrotters. This play may have been one of the main reasons why the Nets were able to secure such a dominant victory. The final score was 123-109 in favor of the Brooklyn Nets. This game was of deeper significance as the Nets would end the season with a 48-24 record and move past the Milwaukee Bucks to achieve the second seed in the playoffs. Miles Bridges' dunk over Clint Capella. Being put on a poster is one of the most favorable and disrespectful things that can happen to players in the NBA. Essentially, when a player dunks over another player, that play is said to be poster-worthy. The player performing the dunk is celebrated, while the player who was dunked on usually has to put up with wide eyes and mouths and a sense of shame. Putting dunks on posters is one of the most celebrated events that can happen in all of basketball. That is exactly what happened when the Charlotte Hornets took on the Atlanta Hawks deep into the end of the 2020-2021 season. The ball had been inbounded on the Hawks side when Cody Zeller had jumped up for an offensive rebound. He immediately threw the ball to Miles Bridges, who was outside and well past the three-point line. Bridges came in and delivered one of the most fierce dunks over a stalwart defensive player, Clint Capella. Bridges had his arm extended as far back as it would go and leaped over Capella for the poster dunk. Miles Bridges is only 6'6", while Clint Capella is 6'9". Dunking over such a tall man is nothing to scoff at. Luka Doncic off-balance buzzer beater. Luka Doncic is known for making plays that seem to stretch the imagination of its limits. Towards the end of the 2020-21 season, the Dallas Mavericks took on the Memphis Grizzlies. With a mere 1.8 seconds left on the board, the ball was inbounded to Doncic. In one of the strangest shots in all of the NBA history, Doncic steps forward and completes a three-pointer that was seemingly too unbalanced to make. Yet the ball goes right in at the sound of the buzzer. The shot was so awkward that it looked as though Doncic could have fallen forward on his stomach. Doncic does not fall and in fact makes the three-pointer at the buzzer, allowing the Mavericks to win with a final score of 114-113. This miraculous shot was also made with Doncic barely not stepping past the three-point line. Had Doncic's toes stepped over the line, the shot would have been counted as 2 and the Grizzlies would have won. That, of course, didn't happen. With this buzzer beater, the Mavericks would retain their hold over the Grizzlies for the 7th seed spot in the playoffs. It really does not get better than game-winning buzzer beaters. Anthony Edwards' poster dunk. In the same light as the Miles Bridges dunk, Anthony Edwards had his own level of posterizing during the 2020-2021 season. Back in February of 2021, the Minnesota Timberwolves were taking on the Toronto Raptors. The third period was coming to a close when the Timberwolves had possession of the ball. The play clock was ticking away and the Timberwolves held onto the ball so that the Raptors would not be allowed to score within the final seconds of the period. With 16 seconds left on the clock, Jordan McLaughlin passes the ball over to Anthony Edwards toward the left side corner of the three-point marker. Edwards takes the ball directly in and launches himself upward. Dunking over defender Yuta Watanabe, both men fall to the floor after the dunk and Edwards quickly gets up to marvel at his handiwork. The Anthony Edwards dunk is another example of a player reaching astounding heights, as Edwards is only 6'6", but managed to leap over the 6'9" Yuta Watanabe. You've seen 4 mind-blowing plays from this 2020-2021 season, but don't go anywhere. The final 3 plays are set to make you drop your jaw even faster, so keep watching to see what other players and plays made the top of our mind-blowing plays list. Giannis Antetokounmpo block. There are few things that are as exciting as the final finals in the NBA. That was the case during the end of the 2021 season when the final two teams took each other on for NBA gold. The Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks battled through a grueling 82-game season and found their way to beating every opponent in the playoffs to end up at the final show. The Suns looked to be the superior team through the first two games as they went 2-0 in the best-of-7 game series. During Game 4 of the 2021 NBA Finals, the series was at a 2-1 record with the Suns leading the way. A minute and 25 seconds were left on the clock as the Suns had control of the ball. The ball was inbounded to Chris Paul, who then passed to DeAndre Ayton. Ayton passes the ball to Devin Booker. Booker throws the ball back to Ayton, who is crashing onto the net. Giannis Antetokounmpo is able to work his way back to the net and immediately jumps in the face of Ayton to deliver a much-needed block. The Bucks would go on to win the game with a final score of 109-103 and tie the finals games at 2-2. DeAndre Ayton Valley-oop. The alley-oop is one of the most iconic plays in the entire game of basketball. But what happens when the alley-oop, which has existed since the 1960s, gets renamed? DeAndre Ayton happens. The nickname for Arizona sports teams usually involves the name The Valley, as the Arizona desert exists within a valley. Although Ayton had to endure a vicious block at the hands of Giannis Antetokounmpo in the finals, he had his own top play-worthy moment earlier in the playoffs. The Phoenix Suns had to make their way through the Los Angeles Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. During the final 2 seconds of Game 2, the ball would be directly inbounded to a waiting DeAndre Ayton. Instead of throwing the ball into a player that may or may not have gotten the shot off, the Suns decided to go for the kill shot. Ayton slams the ball directly into the basket from the inbound pass, and the Suns would defeat the Clippers with a final score of 104-103. Usually, offensive goaltending calls would fly during this type of play, but since it was an inbound pass, the goaltending rules do not apply to such a play. Catching a pass above the rim is nice and legal. The Valley-oop was born. Jrue Holiday steal. As stated, there are few sports events that are more exciting than the finals in the NBA. This final mind-blowing play is the reasoning behind that. This play is regarded as the top play from the 2020-2021 season and a big reason why it made our list of top plays as well. The Bucks and the Suns were deep in a battle with one another well into the finals during Game 5 of the finals. Both teams were at 2 wins apiece in the finals, and things were beginning to heat up. With the final 25 seconds of play in the fourth period, Devin Booker was given the ball and marched his way down the court. Booker unfortunately runs into a sea of Bucks players. Jrue Holiday is able to rip the ball away from Booker and rushes his way back to the opposite end of the court to score. Holiday waits for Giannis Antetokounmpo to catch up and lobs the ball all the way into the air for a nasty alley-oop dunk made by Antetokounmpo, which also incorporated a foul from the Suns. That play was all it took for the Bucks to secure a Game 5 win. The final score would be 123-119, and the Bucks would go on to win Game 6 and secure their 2021 NBA championship. There you have it, some of the most mind-blowing plays from the 2020-2021 NBA season. Drop a comment and let us know which plays had you reeling and how long it took you to pick your jaw up off the floor. Thanks for watching.